Dr. Ben Carson is sitting down in the spin room right now. Dr. Carson, great to see you. Thank you for spending a few minutes with us tonight. What was most interesting to you about the conversation on stage tonight?
Well, the interesting thing was that there weren't as many people butting in as there has been in the past, and the moderators did try to keep a lid on it, and I think they were semi-successful.
You released today a plan to protect America this morning. It begins with a formal declaration of war on the part of the United States against ISIS. In a specific way, can you describe what that means to you? What would it mean if we were to declare war against ISIS?
Well, one of the reasons that it would be important is because once you've declared war, then you set in motion a number of things, including the ability to identify traitors and to punish them for cooperating with the enemy. That doesn't exist until you declare war.
And you also have suggested that the United States should lead a coalition against ISIS, but we do that already. So what's different about your suggestion?
Well, when I'm talking about a coalition is one where we have real contributions from other nations rather than token contributions. And right now, you know, those other nations are kind of sitting on the fence, and you can't blame them because, you know, they can't trust us. You know, we turn our back on one of our closest allies, Israel. You know, we have sort of a gentleman's agreement with Ukraine that if they give up their nuclear weapons and something happens, we'll be there for them, and we're not. You know, these are not things that people don't observe. And so they sit there and they say, if we cast our lot in with the United States and then they turn our back on us, we face the full wrath of ISIS. So I can understand why they might be a little hesitant. We have to reassure them that we are a different group of people than they're used to dealing with.
Dr. Carson, this is Rebecca Bird from Real Clear Politics. You have slipped in the polls recently, not only in Iowa, but nationally. What is your plan to recapture this momentum, and do you think that you made any progress toward that tonight?
I believe we definitely made progress toward that tonight. You know, after the terrorist attacks in France, and subsequently in San Bernardino, of course, my numbers went down because the narrative was put out. I'm not sure exactly who's behind it, that I couldn't possibly know anything about foreign policy or about security for America. So I got a chance to help dispel some of that rumor tonight. We'll have a chance to continue to dispel that, and hopefully that will take care of the problem.
In your release of your plan to protect America today, Dr. Carson, you also suggest that America fully investigate the Council on American Islamic Relations, or as we know it, CARE. You call it an offshoot of the Muslim Brotherhood. They say that all you're doing is taking advantage of Islamophobia. How would you answer that?
I wonder if they would say that about Senator Chuck Schumer and Dick Durbin and some other Democrats who have also been very critical of them and questioned, you know, their motives as well.
Are you concerned about what CARE says has been a spike in anti-Muslim hate crimes since the San Bernardino attack?
Well, I'm concerned about some of the things that have been written by the Muslim Brotherhood in America and their relationship with CARE and how they've talked about, you know, civilization, jihad, infiltrating our society, turning us into something else. I'm concerned that a lot of Americans don't know about that plan. I'm concerned that a lot of Americans don't know that they've said that we would be a relatively easy target because we're so politically correct, that we would favor them over ourselves and allow them to accomplish their goals. I want people to know about this stuff.
When we're talking about your attempt to become the Republican Party's nominee, you were asked tonight about your commitment to the Republican Party. If Ted Cruz ends up being the party's nominee, could you support him?
I would support anybody on the stage who became the nominee, not a problem.
And to
But
that,
my only issue was if backroom deals were being done and we were thwarting the will of the people, I would not want to be associated with that in any way.
do you have any indication that that's the case?
Well, I've subsequently talked to Reince Priebus. He assures me that the Washington Post reporter who wrote that article completely got it wrong, that they would never do such a thing, and I believe him.
When we're talking about Iowa specifically, it's just a number of weeks away now, and you've seen your lead disappear, falling into a tie for third place with Marco Rubio. To what do you attribute that? Why do you think that Ted Cruz has been able to take such advantage?
Well, I think it happened after the Paris attacks, and then increased with the San Bernardino problems, because the narrative was put out that I am not tough and that I don't know anything about foreign policy. So, of course, now I have the uphill battle of proving that that's not true. But the good thing is it's a marathon and not a sprint.
Yeah.
So there's time.
Dr. Carson, members of Congress in the House this evening have reached a deal on a budget proposal that would fund the government through the next budget year, but it would raise domestic spending and increase the deficit. Paul Ryan, of course, the Speaker of the House, is pushing for his members to support this deal. Would you encourage them to support this?
Well, I think we're probably a little bit late in the cycle to be starting all over again, and I suspect that that's the reason that Paul Ryan is looking to support it. But my hope, obviously, would be that the next cycle, we start doing the things that are necessary so that we don't have to continue with the increased spending, recognizing that we are jeopardizing the quality of life for future generations.
Dr. Ben Carson, it was a long night for you up on that stage and for the other candidates there, and I know that it's a busy night in the spin room. Thank you for spending a few minutes with us. We appreciate it.
It's been a pleasure. Thank you.